Welcome back, house guests. This is House of Chatter. Come on in, have a seat, and let's spill some tea on Blake Lively's October surprise. Will October sink the New York Times attempts to get out of their lawsuit? And did Blake Lively start talking about the CRD complaint in October? Check it out. I'm going to start with August, and then I'm going to go through September, October, November, and December. And I'm going to tell you why all of this is related. I wrote it down, so please bear with me. So, starting in August, first week of August, Blake Lively has the In With Us premiere, her movie, and then she has the launch of her hair care line. Hair care line does great first 3 weeks of August, crashes and burns thereafter. Okay, after the premiere, it seemed like there was a larger amount of backlash around Blake Lively and the feud, and it seemed like in August she was kind of fighting the rumors, but also in August, Abel left Jones Works on August 21st, where she handed over the phone to Jones. Also on August 21st, Jones seemingly hands over the information to Sloan, which then hands over the information to Blake Lively. This is a guess, allegedly. And then they try to hand it off to the New York Times to battle against the backlash and the negativity, but they're unable to do it. And Jones is unable to get back at Abel. So they have to go through court, or the New York Times tells them, hey, we can't take this. You have to go and get a subpoena. Once you get a subpoena, then we'll be able to take a look at it, because then it will be like court action and we can report on public records of concern, right? So then let's jump to September. September 27th is the Van Sham lawsuit. Blake Lively is lying relatively low. She's got one British Vogue article coming out. There's some backlash on that, but she's relatively quiet compared to October. October was her month to get things done. Now remember, the Van Sham lawsuit was already in play September 27th. Jones probably gave over that information, or even more. Possibly, now that she knew that subpoena was coming, Blake Lively then hands it to the New York Times, and if it's thousands of pages, I'm guessing it's going to take them some significant amount of time to review all of those claims and what she's going to do with them, or possibly go to do with them. But she's going to need backup, right, in her claims to add pressure to Justin Baldoni to either punish him in this lawsuit, embarrass him, ruin him, or get revenge, or whatever else. So here comes October. October 11th, Blake Lively and Taylor Swift are seen together in NYC. Okay, and then we go to New Orleans, October 24th and October 25th. They are seen together having dinner. Keep that in mind. That is the last time that they are seen together. Also in October, Blake Lively has a dinner date on October 18th with Isabella Ferrer. This time in October, it is also reported or chattered about that Isabella Ferrer was sleeping over at Blake Lively's house at this time. So we have the Van Sham. New York Times is reviewing thousands of pages of documents and emails now. They're probably getting fed new information by the day if they still have access to the iCloud, which brings us to October. So now we need to have, Blake Lively needs to have some time to put together her plan and support. So Isabella Ferrer, October 18th, dinner date, sleepover parties. Taylor Swift, October 11th, 24th, and 25th. Okay, NYC and New Orleans concert. Okay, keep that in mind. Concert, New Orleans concert. She traveled to New Orleans to see her best friend. All right, I'm pretty sure she went to the UK as well, but I didn't look that up. I just looked into October, and these are the dates that I have to the best of my ability. So now, where does the New York Times come into all this October surprise? The metadata is dated October 31st, 2025. So was it supposed that Blake Lively was having all of these conversations during October, hoping that there would be a comment to provide to the New York Times, at least from Isabella Ferrer? So let's look at November. November is relatively quiet. Taylor Swift is in Toronto. She's in Canada. I don't think it would have been a big deal for Blake Lively to travel to Toronto. After all, Ryan Reynolds was just at that Toronto Film Festival. But Taylor Swift was there in November 2024. There's no reports of Blake Lively being there, or they're not seen together. But instead, there's a lot of chatter, and it seems a lot of favorability between Blake Lively and Taylor Swift as far as sharing star power, as far as verbal associations. Again, this is where it's kind of brewing, because in November, there are statements like the following. Ryan Reynolds said he wishes she could experience the crowd, as you know, her crowd energy and all that stuff, but they weren't there at the concert. So this is just what he's saying. And then he reiterated that yes, Blake Lively is the godmother of his children. Also in November, it's reported that Blake Lively had an influence on the Deadpool ending. There was an article on that. And then Elle mentions both Taylor Swift and Blake Lively in their plaid sweater suit things. I guess it was like a jacket. I don't know. It looked frumpy. It looked like the thing from It Ends With Us. It wasn't that cool. But there is just chatter association with Blake Lively and Taylor Swift, but nothing together. Come December, there is the complaint. Come January, there is the dragons. Come February, there is the Super Bowl. No Blake Lively, right? Come May, the big text messages and threatening stuff comes up. So I wonder when that phone call was. Was it in October? Because if it was, there's a lot of collusion around October. And if the Wayfair parties can make all of these associations and has evidence of collusion maybe in October, and that's why they want all the text messages from Isabella Ferrer and Blake Lively in the October period of 2024, I would think, unless they were talking about, hey, take your text messages. I don't know how that would work, but I would think that there would be some kind of evidence. Of course they would. October 24, they would still be able to have access to all those text messages. So it should be interesting to see when this bare bones plan actually is coming out. And maybe that's why the New York Times wants a resolution, because they are afraid of possibly getting appealed and saying, hey, this really wasn't a public court action. This was just a conspiracy, and it was a plan, and we all planned this together, and we all tried to get Taylor Swift and Isabella Ferrer on board, and it kind of worked or it kind of didn't. But there's going to be evidence in all those text messages. But there you have it. There's the October surprise. Blake Lively was quite busy getting use out of that Van Sham lawsuit. So what do you think? Is this going to end in appeal? Is this going to end in a settlement? Or is it all going to come out in court that this was a huge conspiracy in October and everybody goes down? Because personally, I think that would be the most drama ever, and a perfect conclusion to this whole story. And someone is going to be making a lot of money after this is all over, I guarantee you. So what do you think? Like, subscribe, share. Let me know what else you would like to hear, and don't forget about our paranormal series that we also have going on after this show. Thanks, house guests. Have a great day.